Hey guys, my name is Matimio, and welcome to another episode of Sunday Mailbox. This is a video series where you, the viewer, can submit your gaming-related questions, and then I will give my humble opinion on them. To get the formalities out of the way real quick, if you would like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below, or by sending me a Facebook and Twitter message. The first question for today comes from a lot of you, and that was that you wanted my opinion on the two new operators that have been leaked for Rainbow Six Siege. So if you're not aware, the two new classes that are apparently going to be added to the game is where one is using an assault rifle with a shield at the end of the barrel. Yes, a shield. It looks something like this. And the other one is a defender who can place cameras on a wall. Now, it remains to be seen how awesome this shield operator is going to be, because on the one hand, he could be blatantly overpowered. Because Rainbow Six Siege, you always want to go for headshots, if this shield makes it very difficult for the enemy to actually land that headshot against you, it could be blatantly overpowered. I mean, if you're able to land headshots on them, they can't really do that against you and they have to go for body shots. You're at a significant advantage against every single player that you come across. The one disadvantage of it is, I'm assuming, is that it will reduce your periphery vision. It's going to make it much more challenging to kind of see what's going on around you, and it might cause you to tunnel vision and not see the guy that's flanking to the left and the right. So that might be the downside. But even still, being able to make it very difficult for the enemy to land a headshot against you, that could be simply fantastic. The only thing I don't really like about this guy is that if this is the extent of his gadgetry and he doesn't have anything up his sleeve that provides tactical value, he's a very selfish operator. Similar to Buck and Glaz, this is kind of a critique that I have for these guys, is that they don't really do anything for their team other than garnering kills. Don't get me wrong, getting kills for your team is incredibly important. That's going to win you rounds, but I would rather someone actually play as Thermite or Thatcher so that we can get into the objective instead of them being more selfish and just simply trying to pick an operator so that they can get the most kills. And so it remains to be seen how awesome this guy is going to be. I have a feeling that in the right hands he is going to be disgusting, but it really hinges on a couple of factors that we simply just do not know at this point. As for the defender camera operator, I knew this day was coming. We even talked about in a previous video how I was convinced eventually they would add someone like this into the game because it just makes sense in Rainbow Six Siege. Knowledge is power, and if you're able to place a camera on any part of the map and then relay that information to your team when you see them, that is going to be a massive advantage. The only thing that we don't really know about at this point is how many cameras you're going to be able to use and if you're going to be able to place them on any part of the map. If you're able to throw it on the ceiling, it is going to be way easier to hide these things, and it's going to be significantly better than if you're only able to place them on a wall like Jaeger's trophy system or on the ground. If it's much like Jaeger's trophy system, I still think it's going to be very good. You're going to be able to put these in some very precarious locations that's kind of out of the way, but still gives you a nice viewpoint of long hallways, but it's not going to be nearly as good as hiding a camera on a ceiling, for example. Just in general, though, I cannot wait to see how this operator plays out because I really do think that it's going to change up the meta. It's really going to change the way that you approach different situations when you are playing on defense, and I cannot wait to see what happens from that. The next question comes from Evan, and it is, have you seen the new Star Wars Battlefront map, and do you think it's going to get people to come back to the game? Well, I can only speak for myself, but it's actually gotten me to go back and play Star Wars Battlefront. It's a big, large map. It's not just a small one. It's another big one, and it's expanded upon their limited map size that they had during release. And so while it's nothing really to write home about, it's, you know, just kind of a large snowfield with some caves, it's fun, it's enjoyable, it's Star Wars Battlefront. I've always loved the game. I've said that since the very beginning, and it kind of reduces a lot of the negative qualities that I've had with it, and that is just the amount of content that was in the game to begin with. Does this mean that more people are going to return to the game and hopefully expand upon the dwindling player count numbers, especially on PC? I don't really think so. While it's great that they're releasing more free content, like who's gonna complain about free DLC here, but I'm gonna sound like a little bit of a negative Nancy, but I feel like all of this DLC, Battle of Jakku and this new Hoth map, should have been in the game at release. If there was just more content and there was more to enjoy, less people would have gotten burnt out at the release and they probably would still have the player count that they do right now. But because now everyone has kind of gotten burned out of Star Wars Battlefront because there just wasn't enough to do, they've moved on to other games, and the idea of going back just to play on one map probably isn't enough incentive to get them back into the grind of things. I could of course be completely wrong with this. Maybe a huge amount of players are returning in droves, but I just get the sense that it's too little too late. If all this was at the release of the game, I think that would have been way more beneficial than releasing one map every couple of months and not even having the big DLC with the premium come out. It just seems like DICE is making up for lost time. And while I love the fact that they released the new DLC, I love the new map, it's a lot of fun, I just get the sense that it might be too little too late. The next question comes from Zach, and it is, if the last person on your team is injured in Rainbow Six Siege, do you think they should be able to use their sidearm to defend themselves? I cannot believe how many people asked this question over the last couple of weeks. Like, there is clearly a lot of people out there that like the idea of having essentially Final Stand or Last Stand from the Call of Duty franchise. You get downed, you can kind of skirt around, but also use your pistol to hopefully kill the enemy if they round the corner to finish you off. For me personally, this is something that I do not want to see whatsoever. I understand where people are coming from, because if you were the last guy, or even if you just get down, it would be nice if you could defend yourself. Like, if you are down on the ground and you're injured, you would think that you would be able to whip out your pistol really quickly and hopefully kill the guy that's about to take you out. The only thing about that, though, is that it completely changes the dynamic of the game. The person that downed you, they killed you. I mean, let's be completely honest. They put you down from 100% health all the way down to 0. If this was any other first-person shooter, you would be dead. And so I really just believe that you have to think of it from that standpoint. You're dead. Like, don't even think of it any other way. It adds in a different dynamic, and I kind of like the down but not out state. It can be very frustrating, but it adds a different dynamic. If you take someone down and they drop behind a counter, you have to run the risk of, hey, should I rush on in and take him out, or is that going to leave me vulnerable? Should I leave him standing where he is or laying down so that I can bait and have the enemy try and revive him and get another kill? These are all really cool things that you have to think about that you just wouldn't get in any other first-person shooter. But you have to remember that you are basically dead when you are in that state, and having a pistol completely changes the dynamic of the game. You guys all know everything one-shots, and so how frustrating it would be. I would be really pissed off if I killed someone, I took their health down all the way to 0, and they were able to finish me off and get a lucky headshot on me when I went on over to take them out. That would be infuriating. And so while I know where you're coming from, especially at the end of the round where it's just you and they're kind of trolling you, they're teabagging you because you're on the objective, you're playing on secure the area, that can be really annoying. It would be nice to be able to fight for yourself, but I really do think that it would change the game for the worst. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's Sunday Mailbox. I hope you enjoyed. As always, if you would like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below or by sending me a Facebook and Twitter message. But until tomorrow, guys, have a good one and take it easy.